So let's talk about another way that you can elevate your deviled eggs. I love beets, so I always have them on hand. I love to roast them. I love to pickle them. I grew up on pickled beets. So the idea that you can have a pickled beet, use the pickling brine for something else, and then still have the beet to eat later is very enticing to me. I love the color that it produces, and it makes your standard egg a little bit more fancy. It draws your eye to the table. So let's get started. And hey, if you want, for your Easter, you could do both. You just made all of the filling, so really, you have the filling to put in a white egg, and then you could also put it into a beet dyed egg, which would look really cool on your platter. What we first want to do is we want to get that, that beet into the pickling brine. So right now I have, well, actually what you'll need on hand is you're going to need white distilled vinegar, and I have 2 cups. Now I am using, there's a number of different recipes online that you can use. Kind of like fly a little bit if you get the measure, like a gist measurement. So for this one, I'm using 2 cups of white distilled vinegar. I'll have my kosher salt. I have celery seed here that I'm gonna add. And then I also have 1 cup of water that is already to a rapid boil. You want everything at a rapid boil. So before we get that going, what we need to do is we need to peel this beet. So I am just going to, I've washed this beet, but we're going to take the outside layer off.
Mom, you're making that beet naked.
I am. That's my son. He said, I'm making this beet naked. And he's right. It's okay in this case, right? It's okay for the beet to be naked in this case. Here's my beet that has been peeled. And now I'm going to put, also you get to look forward to this, beet hands. So great. Okay, so I have my 1 cup of water at a rolling boil right now. I'm going to put in my white distilled vinegar, my 1 tablespoon of celery seed. I need 1 tablespoon of one tablespoon of kosher salt. I'm going to bring that all to a rapid boil, and then I'm going to let it simmer for 10 minutes. So let's give it a little stir. All of my ingredients in here, I'm just gonna give it a little stir, and then we're gonna take it up to a rapid. This is not what I've been looking like every day. We are currently, if you're watching this before 2020's Easter, you know what kind of climate we're in. We're in a sweatpants all day kind of climate. That's what we're in. And I'm actually wearing jeans and a t-shirt today. And I did put some red lipstick on because sometimes the red lips make you feel a little bit better, you know? Okay, so here we have that rapid boil that I was looking for. And so now I'm just gonna take this down to like a 2 or 3 on my temperature, and I'm gonna let it just simmer for about 10 minutes. After that, we'll be removing this from heat, and then we're gonna put our beet into it and just let it sit in that pickling liquid until the liquid actually can cool and come to just about room temperature. Something important to keep in mind when you're doing these beet dyed pickled eggs is you need to have the eggs sit in the brine overnight. So this is definitely something that you're gonna wanna do in advance. Maybe you have set aside a couple eggs that you can dye ahead of time. Or if you are gonna be using the ones that you get from an Easter egg hunt in the morning, at least let them sit in the brine in the refrigerator for, you know, at least 6 hours. 6 to 8 hours would be. The eggs are going to be inside of a glass jar. So you're gonna want a glass jar, like a mason jar is fine. Any kind of glass jar like this I use, sort of a canister. I'm going to put in I think I'm just gonna do 3 eggs, honestly. I'm gonna save that pickling brine for something else. I'm gonna put my 3 eggs in here like this. It'll sit overnight in the pickling brine. You'll seal it up, put it in your refrigerator. You can pack this full with your 6 eggs, or you can do as many eggs as you want. Save the beet after, because you definitely can do something fun with that beet, whether you're roasting it or you actually want to, well, roast it and then pickle it again. And oh my gosh, you could shred that up, chop it up, put it over salad, put it in some sort of like a farro dish or something like that. That flavor is gonna be so delicious in so many different things. Our pickling brine is down to room temperature. And so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna take the eggs that are in our nice little jar, and I'm gonna take our beet out. We're gonna just take our beet brine and we're gonna pour it right into our jar to cover the eggs. Okay, so it's gonna look just like this. So depending on how many eggs that you're doing, just make sure that the eggs are covered in that beet brine. And then we're gonna close it up. So we're basically dyeing the eggs. I mean, honestly, you could do it in the shell too and have some really beautiful naturally dyed eggs. So, okay, I shot this. I'm gonna put it in the fridge and it's gonna be overnight. And so we'll finish this video up tomorrow. I gotta go because I gotta go make dinner for my family, and I will see you tomorrow to finish our beets. Okay guys, welcome back. It is the next day, so we are going to pull those eggs out. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we are keeping it as real as possible around here. So if you're watching this in a time when things are a little crazy. I've got my 3 kids at home. So if you hear some beep boop pop boop pop in the background, that's them. But we're gonna concentrate on what's going on right here. And let's go get our second set of beet pickled deviled eggs out of the fridge, and I'll show you exactly what they look like. We'll cut them up, we'll plate them, and then you will be all set for Easter appetizer or Easter brunch or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Ba, ba, ba. And I'm gonna pull one out. Okay, here we are. See that pretty color? They're so beautiful. They're all dyed really nice and evenly. So I'm gonna pull this one out just to show what they look like. And again, we already have our filling, so I don't need to keep the yolks. What I am gonna do, so we're gonna cut into the egg, and look how cool that is. It's so cool. So now I'm just gonna take that yolk out, and then I'm gonna fill it up with our filling that we had from yesterday. You remember this little friend of mine? And then I'm going to plate them, and then I'll show you just how beautiful they look next to the other one. And again, I use a spoon, but I also believe in just using your hands. My mom taught me that your hands are the best spatula. They're the best kitchen tool that you have. So I just pull it out. And if your eggs are really cold from the refrigerator, then the yolk usually comes out just fine. And I know you guys all probably have your family recipe from deviled eggs. It is such an easy recipe, but I feel like everyone has like their own special like family recipe kind of a thing. So anyways, all right, so there we have it. We are scooped out, and then I'm going to fill them with our filling. Okay, so we talked a little bit about garnish yesterday and how we top deviled eggs. And typically you'll see paprika on the top, a light dusting of it. There's so many other things that you can put on. I happen to have thyme and chives on hand, so I always like to do a nice little sprinkling, either rough torn with your hands, or you can chop it up. Those chives. You can put a couple of leaves of thyme on one of them. You can also try, I have Maldon salt that I do, maybe like a couple flakes on top, maybe with some fennel seeds. I also have this everything on everything salt from Drifter's Fish, actually, for salmon, but it still would be quite delicious because it's got salt and sesame and poppy seeds in it. And it just adds to the color and texture of the egg. And we're talking just a little bit. So I am going to sort of garnish these 4 eggs slightly different ways, just so you can see what you can do. And again, play with it, have fun. I know you guys I'm not sharing anything new to anybody. Deviled eggs are such an easy thing. And I know that you have probably done these every Easter, but thinking out of the box in your own kitchen on, I wonder if that would taste good. This is the exact time to do it because it's just your family. So you can see what works, what doesn't work. Also, what's kid friendly. That's such a huge thing for me in my house. So yeah, so let's go and garnish this thing. So here, I'm gonna do some thyme on this guy. And whenever I'm garnishing on a platter too, I like it to spill over. So I want to I want to, no rhyme or reason, put it on just a couple of them, and then a nice little around there. I like to put just 2 or 3 different lengths of chives on there. But again, no rhyme or reason, however they tore in your hand. But for now, I'm gonna take this off just so we can see this is maybe what has been done in the past. So there's just some chopped chives on there, just to add a little bit of flavor. And then for our pickled, I love fennel and I love fennel seeds. So any way that I can ever incorporate that. So you could probably grind some of this up, maybe toast it even, do a light toast, but then just a couple of sprinkles on the top on this guy. And we'll scatter some. And then you know what? Well, I'm actually gonna put some flaky Maldon on that fennel one. Just a couple flakes. And then I'm gonna try this everything but the bagel, or the everything on everything salmon blend, because it has some yummy salt in it as well. But how do they taste? Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna do this beauty right here. Oh, she's so pretty. I tell you what. Oh my gosh. Okay, even if it was bad, I would never tell you. I hate when people are always like, oh my gosh, it's so good. I want to make love to this egg. Okay, it's not that, but it is so freaking good. The pickling on the outside, it like hits your tongue, and then you have that hit of Dijon following it, and it is so good. I'm gonna say it's an explosion of flavor. I said it. I did say it. It's so worth the extra effort to pickle. It really is. It really, really is. So anyways, try it, do it for your fancy appetizer or your fancy brunch. Add it to your table.